Welcome to our How's the Market Report, where we answer the oh so common question of how's the market? Without further ado, let's jump right in. So let's start by looking at sales prices. We ended April with a median sales price of $351. If we zoom in and look at that 3-year chart, so we ended April at $351,000 for the median sales price. Looking back, we did peak in April 2022 with a price of $370. We had a little bit of a oscillation here, kind of took a downward trend and bottomed out. Looks like January at $331,000. But you can see the trend is for showing a recovery. As far as new listings, I really like the 10-year trend for this slide. We ended April with 342 new listings for that month. Now, the bigger story on this slide is that even though you can see the seasonality here, you know, December always being the slowest time of year, and then it picks up in spring and summer, and it repeats every year like clockwork. This December not only was low, but it was the lowest that we've had in the last 10 years as far as new numbers of listings. And the inventory that everybody was expecting in spring and summer just didn't show up. You know, we should have started seeing it here, and it's not picking up. A couple reasons for that is the move-up buyer and the move-down buyer are kind of locked into their existing homes. A lot of people would like to, you know, sell and buy something smaller or sell and buy something bigger. But if you have a 2.5%, a 3%, 3.5% interest rate, you're going to be reluctant to make that jump and get a new 6%, 6.5%, in some cases even a 7% interest rate for your new home. It almost doesn't make sense. You're going to have close to the same payment and you're going to have a smaller house. Or if you get a bigger house, you're going to have a much, much higher payment, right? You might want just something a little bit bigger and your payment's going to double. So you're going to be more reluctant to make that move. Another source for listing is new constructions. And with all this talk of recession and rates are, you know, kind of fluctuating and labor's high and materials are high, builders aren't in a hurry to build a bunch of inventory that they might end up having to discount or ended up getting stuck with. They learned their lesson back in 2006. Homes for sale, same thing. That this shows the trend that we just don't have the listings or the inventory. There's a glitch here. I promise we didn't end April with 0 homes for sale. Pending sales. So even though we expected this to be lower, we ended up April at 338 pendings, and this should trend kind of low. It's not that low considering that rates are double what they were, you know, 18 months ago. People are still buying. People need somewhere to live. So we do have a good amount of houses going into contract. Close sales, again, with the higher rates and less inventory, of course, we're going to have less sales, but the demand is there. We ended up April with 264 closings. Days on market kind of ticked up a little bit, but still a very, very healthy 22. Months of supply. So this is if we stop listing new houses now, if we stop getting new listings right now, how long it would take before we depleted our inventory. And right now we're at 1.6. That is very low. I mean, if we look back at our max history, goes all the way back to 2004, you can see the signs of a slowdown just by months of supply. I mean, at the peak we were at 18 months. Nothing like today's 1.6. So now as far as bonus material, I got a little bit of bonus material. So if you're kind of sitting on the sidelines because you would like to do something, but you're reluctant because you hear market crash this and market crash that, and you don't know, here's a couple things that you could be looking at, or these are the slides that you could be looking at to give you leading indicators if something were to happen. So if you're that concerned, I would look at new listings. If you start seeing new listings tick up, like a bunch of sellers are getting ready to sell because they're trying to avoid something, that can be an indicator that the market's changing. Homes for sale, if this number starts trending up, right, like inventory is going on market and it's just not selling, that can be an indicator that something's happening, kind of like back here. Pendings, if pendings start trending down, like if they start falling off a cliff, meaning people aren't getting into contract, they're not buying these houses, that's an indicator. And the last one is months of supply. And again, this goes back to inventory. If you start seeing this number ticking up, right, where houses are going on the market, they're just not selling, kind of like back here, then that can be your indicator. And again, I don't want to tell you that the market's crashing or the market's not crashing. Personally, I don't see any signs of it really slowing down significantly or any signs of a huge crash. But, you know, if you got that in the back of your mind, those are the slides that you can look at. And as a bonus material, let's look at real estate owned properties. So these are properties that the bank has already gone through the process to foreclose on, and they've already foreclosed them. They're in the possession of the bank. If you start here, we're going to get a wave of foreclosures and all this inventory and blah, blah, blah. I mean, these are some slides that indicate that we're not really having this explosion of foreclosures. So first slide is homes for sale that are real estate owned. As you can see, we're at historic lows. Let's zoom in on that. So for the past 3 years, and again, let's disregard this glitch. March, we had 9. Highest we had was back in April 2020, we had 35. Now keep in mind, throughout this period, foreclosures were essentially banned. I mean, forbearances and all these moratoriums from these cities and these counties really made it hard to foreclose on a property. But we had a few, and every market is going to have foreclosures. It's just a part of the cycle. People are going to see hard times. People pass away. People lose jobs, divorces, and sometimes these people just really walk away from these properties. They don't even try to fight to keep any of the equity. So we're going to have some. I would be concerned if you start looking at these trends and they really started skyrocketing, kind of like back here. Right, because even 2017, 2018, this was not a distressed property market, and we had a lot more than we had now. So if you start hearing foreclosure waves and you start seeing these numbers, you know, we're not going to have a wave of foreclosures. Even if they double, even if somebody gives you a clickbait headline and they say foreclosures double, yeah, well, that means we went from 9 to 18, which really isn't going to affect the economy in a very meaningful way. Paintings, I mean, those are selling as well. Sometimes they take a little bit longer just because of the nature of the sale. I mean, they do go pending. Month supply, this is where I was going with that. You know, it could take up to 4 months, down to 1.4 months to buy one of these foreclosed properties. And that's all I got for you. If you like the information in this video, please hit like and subscribe. I'll be coming up with this market update every month, along with other videos in between. If you happen to be having a real estate related conversation and you think somebody else can find this useful, please share it. And if you happen to have any questions, put them in the comments or send me a message and I'll answer that question for you. If I get enough people asking the same question, I'll make another video. And if you're thinking about buying, thinking about selling, and want to have a more personal conversation regarding your circumstances, reach out to me and we'll set an appointment to talk about that. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.